So, welcome to Tangle Tuesday. Today we're going to do an easy lesson, or I hope it's easy, and for summer. You're going to need any kind of fine tip pen, and it's really your choice. I mean, this is black, and I've got a Faber Castell Pitt pen in black, and it's very fine. I would say if you're an equivalent to an 01 in a micron 01. And whatever, if you've got a ballpoint pen, whatever you have will work just fine. And any color will work as well. And I have a pencil, an HB pencil. It just happens to say Zentangle on it. And I also have a blending stump or a torchon. But if you have your finger or you have a Q-tip or a little makeup applicator to spread the graphite out, that's fine too. That'll work. Or you may decide you don't want to do that. You get to choose. And then to add a little color, now you don't have to color today. You can do this lesson without any color. It's just, up to you what you'd like to do. But I've got some Faber Castell Pitt pens. And these are nice colors. I like the box they come in, and these are a brush tip. And I also like them. I'll tell you why. Because they're a brush tip. You can see that. But it's very fine on the end, so you can get into the corners. And they come in this cool box, and the neat thing is that this box tilts up like that. You can see that's the lid tilts back, and so they're facing you on an angle, so you can pick your colors with an angle, which is a handy thing. Okay, just take a minute to sort of come to where you are, your current space and time. Maybe really practice sitting well in your chair. And by that, I mean really placing your weight evenly and perhaps putting your feet on the floor, both feet, as opposed to crossing your legs. And maybe look around you, either the room you're in, or if you are fortunate to be able to look outside, and just have a look around and appreciate that you are here at this moment in time and space. No matter what's going on in our lives, we are here to be present in our lives at this time, to experience it the way it is. And we're going to start, I'm going to have a little border with this one. So if you're using, you can use any paper for this, but if you're using a Zentangle tile, you can certainly use that, and any color that you'd like is fine. I just happen to be using the Strathmore artist tiles that are 6 inches by 6 inches because they're easier for you to see, and it's also easier for me to see. Yes, that's also important. So I just find that working in a little larger space is helpful as I grow older. So let's start by putting a dot in each corner. So I'm going to be quite a ways away from the corner for mine, but if you've got a little tile, you might want to make it a little bit closer. And then take a deep breath and let it out. And then connect the dots in as straight a line as you can muster today. Again, notice how I'm holding my pencil. So I'm not doing this like I'm writing. I'm holding it like on its side. So it's kind of like I'm hugging it. And it makes it so that you have better control. And then we're going to do another one this way. I'm going to adjust my exposure here. You can see better. And another this way. And then my final one this way. Oh, that was wiggly. Oh well. That's the way it goes sometimes. Things are wiggly. So we're going to base this one on, the string is going to be a tangle. And the tangle is called Gotcha. I'll spell it for you. Gotcha. And the gal who created it is Karin Godyns, Godyns. I think I got that right. Yeah. Okay. And so then again with my pencil, I'm going to bisect this by drawing a diagonal line from one dot to the other. So from here to here. And you might want to do it up to down or down to up. I find it easier for me to do it down to up on these lines for some reason. So that's what I do. But you can experiment. See, hey, what does it feel like? What feels better for me? So you have a basic X to start with. And then I'm going to go over that line again with my pen. So I've got my Pitt pen. I'm going to go over that line as best I can. And if it's a wiggly line, it's okay. Wiggly is all right. So this one's a little tricky in that you can get confused. Like I did yesterday. It's like, what's not working out? Okay, so what you have to do is turn your paper while you do this in the same direction always. So I'm going to try to remember to turn my paper to the right. So I've put another paper in behind. This is what I want to do. I want to make sure I keep turning it to the right. Okay. And I'm going to also decide that I'm going to keep the first lines are going to be to the right of these spokes. And I'm going to put a dot a little ways away to aim at and start at the top and bring it down to the dot. So a semi arcing line. Then I'm turning, and I just did that. See, I turned it left, turn it right. That's funny. Okay, that's why I do the arrow thing. Okay, and I'm going to do another one here, a little dot. Bring it down. And again, I'm going to turn it to the right. Put a little dot there and bring it down. Another dot there and bring it down. So now I've got the bones of what we're starting. And then we're going to continue to do it to the right. So I'm turning it again to the right. And I'm going to put another dot here. Aim for it. Put a dot down here. And I put the dots so it just is helpful to have a reference, a little reference point of what to aim for. So I'm just going to do 2 lines on either side of the X. But if you want to do more, you go right ahead. But for now, I'm just going to do the 2 today. And then we're going to, again, turn it to the right. Let's do it this way. And put a little dot here. And bring it down. Okay, it didn't quite make it to the dot. And bring it up here so this dot sort of corresponds with this line. And bring it down and arcing. So you've got your over and under already. I'm going to turn it again. And again, I've got it on the diamond shape, just makes it easier. So I'm coming up here and I'm putting a dot that corresponds to this line ending. And another dot. You can see where you could probably do this too fast and get dizzy. So you want to make sure you go pretty slow. Okay, so you may have something like this. You may have something that looks different, but it still looks okay. So if it doesn't look exactly like this, you don't have the over and under going and all that, don't worry about it. We'll just keep going and see what happens with whatever you created today. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is going to be on these outside triangles, and it's called Henna Drum by Jane McCrugler. And it starts with a crescent moon shape and then aura over that line. And then a petal that has 3 lobes. So 1 lobe, a smaller lobe, and a large lobe again. And then we do another one beside it. And if you want to, you could do some marks in here. You could also aura around this shape again if you'd like. So I'm just going to do that because why not? Again, notice and be aware of how fast you go with your pen. A lot of us are really proficient at drawing and tend to do things really quickly. But the key to this and to slowing down in our nervous system within our body is to slow down your actions, your external actions, your physical actions. So if you could somehow slow things down, that really helps. I was reminded of that this week. There are quite a few fires in BC, and there's smoke around us, and there's fires pretty close. I can't see them, but I know they're there. And I was feeling kind of agitated about it. And I found myself going too fast at something. I was probably cooking or whatever. And that was just making me feel more anxious, more agitated. So I just stopped myself. I just stopped. And I slowed down in my actions. And that really helped to calm my emotional being. It's all tied together. We're all just one ball of wax. And if you go over the pencil line, it's okay. Not a problem. Another little arc here. So you've got to this point, you've done these two tangles, and you get to ask yourself, maybe is this good enough? Is it, to me, in my eye, it's beautiful. And, maybe you don't want to do more. Maybe this is it. But we're going to continue. But if you get to this point, you love it, and you want to color this or you want to shade it, feel free to do that. So in here, Santa drum, I'm going to do little circles. I really like that tangle. I think it's so beautiful. It's so simple, and yet it says so much. And in even all the horrible heat we had, the sunflowers in my backyard just went crazy. They absolutely loved it. They didn't even droop. And now they're blooming. And again, anytime if you see something or you think of a tangle that you want to put in there that's not what I'm teaching today, feel free to do that. It's your paper, your time, your creative force that's telling you something different, then go for it. So I'm going to put some little perfs coming off here too, little circles. I find that when I put these little circles in the air, what it does is it gives the illusion of action, that it's not static, that there's a liveliness happening in the piece. It always makes me think of ginger ale for some reason, but little bubbles. Just continue on around the edge. And think random when you do these little circles. It's easy to get into the habit of making them in lines or rows. That's what we do. Try to make them a little more haphazard, a little more open, a little more fun. Cute. There's a kid going down the street with his hockey stick on his bike. Probably going to the arena. Going to hockey camp. It's great to see things changing again and opening up and families able to visit and kids being able to do normal summer kid things. Makes you appreciate them all the more. So I'm also going to go around here and black in this section here. I'm going to do it like little bars. I was going to do the whole thing, but I think I decided at the last minute to just do it in little bars. Let me just make that's better. Hello, Zoom. Okay, so let's put some color here. If you want, I've got a little sample here I made. So this is a sample of what are possible as I worked out possibilities. You could do Knightsbridge in these bars coming across these spaces. Got shaddock, got this kind of bisected ovals, shaddock straight line, shaddock curved line, that is. Well, that's about it for that. And then if you wanted to, do this again, you could do this right there. I can't think they've just had an absolute brain melt right now. I hate that. Anyway, vertigo and some, or just perfs. So that's a possibility as well.
Rick's paradox on the
Thank you
ones
so
you're
much.
yeah.
It comes and goes, the brain, right? So funny. Okay, so so there's some possibilities if you want to add tangles within the gotcha tangle string, for lack of a better word. You can certainly do that and add that. So, but for now, I'm just going to do a little coloring with my Pitt pens. We're going to go with some yellow. Oh, they have names on theirs. Let's see. Well, they do. Cadmium yellow. And of course, they're on there really tiny. Orange glaze. I'm just going to start dancing in some yellow here in my Pitt pen. Did smear a little bit of the black ink underneath it, but that's okay. Can always go in after and restate the black lines. So to mix these up a little bit, and any marker really, and you can go also after you do it over a black line, you might want to clean it off a little bit on a piece of scrap paper. Then I've got my orange marker. I'm just going to flick in some color here. So I'm just doing this flick stroke. And then I'm going to go back with the yellow and pick up the end of this flick stroke and bring it in, flick it up with the yellow. So it's going to blend it in a little bit better. And I'm looking at that, I'm saying, okay, of course I'm going to clean off my pen a little bit. I could sure use some red in there. Or maybe they've got this pink. So I'm just at the very bottom, just going to flick in some of this pinkish, magenta-ish, plumish, called pink carmine. And then go back to my orange. I'm going to flick it up a little bit. And blend it in a little. Maybe do a little down the middle. Back to my yellow again and flick it in there. So that's just because I've gone back and added the red or the pink. Usually it doesn't take this many steps. But you can see the depth here. Creates a depth of color. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, you could even go darker. So you could even take a really dark purple there, or violet, and put that on the this edge and bring that in a little bit. And it'll even make it more dramatic. So I would do that on each of the petals. And then in the center, let's just see what this color does. I don't know. Together. So I'm just going to do a little sample here. All my colors together around the blue green. Does that work? It's a little dark. What if I chose a little lighter blue? So this is how I test my colors. The color I'm going to introduce, I put in the center. The existing colors I do around it, not right on top, but close. And I ask them, you know, do you play well together? That's better. Just go with this blue. Just a little bit here and there. I'm just going to not do the whole thing, but in between the little circles. It's going to dab. That's why I like this beautiful Pitt pen with the brush tip, because the tips are so tiny. But you could use any fine tip pen if you'd like to do that. So it's there. It's just not overpowering. You can barely see it there probably, but I can see it. I know it's there. Let's just start again on this petal. Again, I want to make sure it's clean. I'm do my full petal in the yellow. Try not to get too close to the edge because it does pick up a little bit of the black ink. So this time I'm being a little more careful around. Oop, no, I smeared it. Okay, just said that and then I smeared it. Well, I'm going to bring the orange up a little bit. Flick it in. And then this pink at the bottom, flick that in over top of the orange. And then back to the yellow. Again, I want to clean it off. Get back, I'm just going to pull that color up from the bottom. I'll clean it off a little bit as it gets close to the top. Try to retain a little bit of the yellow. So that one's a little brighter than this one, to my eye. Then if I want to give it even more depth, I go back with my pencil. So you can either use an HB pencil or a softer pencil. What do I have here? Oh, I've got a 4B. So this is a softer one. The one's on the H side of the HB. So HB is in the middle as your standard pencil, let's say. And the B's get softer. So B2, 2, I think it's going to say B11, but I could be wrong. And the H's are harder from 2, again, to about 11 on this side. And it doesn't stand for hard. It's a Dutch word, and so is the B. I always thought it stood for hard, but it doesn't. So just something to remember about pencils. And if you're going to look for pencils in the store, make sure that you can try them out if you can, and see what you like. So I'm just going to put a little bit of graphite down. So this is quite dark because underneath it's quite dark in color. And I'm going to look for my torchon, which I just had. Oh, there it is right there. And I'm just going to bring that shading up a little bit. So it's going to give it that little more dramatic effect. Can you see the difference between this one and this one? So it's worth it. I like to shade over marker a lot. I like the effect. It kind of gives it a patina. then I'm going to go back with this blue. I'm just going to go crazy here and just go back and do this little aura space with the blue. See what happens. Oh, I do like that. It brings the yellow out a little bit better. Oh, I like that. Okay, so what I also do when I'm working with colors is I will only take out what I need and what I'm working with at the time. I won't, if I try another color doesn't work, I tend to put it back. Otherwise it can get very confusing. And I try to keep it to under 5 colors working at a time. So it doesn't get too busy because I can get really excited about color, go too far. So that gives you an idea of what you can do with this. You can also do a little shading if you want where these lines intersect here. So I've got my 4B pencil again, just very soft. And we'll just do a little shading. I look forward to seeing what you've done with this. And if you aren't already, you can join the Tangle Tuesday 2 Words Facebook page and share your work there. You can all send it to me as well at Loretta West, Loretta West, WEST 18 at gmail.com. So where these lines intersect, we're going to do some shading. And don't forget about my Tangled Turtle class that comes up on July 15th. And I'm also doing an online retreat, Zentangle retreat, a 2-hour retreat through a retreat center in the Naramata Center in BC on July 24th. And if you want to find out more, you go to my blog, Loretta West, Color, COLOUR, Garden Studio. And there's listings under classes and workshops. And I'll put a link down below in this recording so that you can go right to it. So I want to thank the people that are joining this by recording. And I can't wait to see what you've done with this design.